So finally we come to the last video on how to actually negotiate. You and your team are meeting with the company and you've done all your preparation. And although this is the last of this series, there is no avoiding the fact that if this goes well and your community receives the benefits and protections you seek, that you'll have to spend years implementing and overseeing the outcome. So, there's no one way to do negotiation. Any group or local community can have their own valid approach to making these sorts of decisions and negotiating agreements. Most companies now privately acknowledge, if not during negotiation, that social license to operate is greatly preferred because it allows for a smoother and more profitable project. A company will negotiate up until there's no dependable profit to be made, and then it'll walk away. But you can't know when that really is, and of course, they're not going to tell you. You have to talk and move things around until it fits and works for both you and them. So assume that they know nothing about you and you know nothing about them. You'll have to teach them about your culture and history and let the company know what you care about deeply. Have negotiations held within the community and, if needed, arrange for competent translation. Here's a dozen guidelines to think about. First, consider a pre-negotiation where you work out the framework with them of how, where, and when the meetings will take place, who will be attending, and what will be discussed. Don't let the company control the meeting, the issues, or the framework. Second, you need a lead negotiator, a secretary for records and communications, and a budget manager as essential parts of the team. Make sure one of your negotiating team takes accurate minutes of the meeting and circulates them as soon as possible after the negotiation for group agreement. Third, early in the negotiation, clarify the definition of various terms. It's incredibly important. For example, if they plan to extract one mineral, what happens if they discover additional resources? Will you get anything? What if they say they're going to be environmentally conscious? What does that mean? Be very exact. Don't give away more than you anticipate. There should be no vague language in the deal, no if possibles or something like that. Fourth, know what you want and what your bottom line is in advance. Of course, don't tell the company what it is. As with any negotiation, start fairly high, but not completely unreasonable, which gives you room to give and take. Don't settle for the first offer because they will offer you the lowest possible amount so they can make the most money possible. They will not share information with you, so you can't know how much they really can offer. Just know it's more. Fifth, make sure you're dealing with people from the company who have real decision-making power and who can make decisions in the company, not just a consultant or a social scientist. You'll need to find out on your own who are the top people in the company. Only work with people of equal power to you in the company. Not only is it a matter of respect, but your agreement can be overruled by those higher up in the company, or the negotiators can say that they have to ask those higher up in the company as a negotiation tactic. Find out who's coming in advance. Sixth, start with stuff that seems both sides can agree on, if only in principle. For the really tough things, or for specific details like money or environmental specifics, wait until there's a trusted relationship before addressing. Seventh, know where the overall industry is in the global market and how the company fits into it. If the market is currently low, try to build in some flexibility to increase benefits when times improve. If it's currently high, consider developing a deal with the company that can continue at least some benefits for the community when the cycle slows down. 8. Stick to the agenda and stay focused. You must stay unified and organized. Never argue in public, only in private, no matter what. A company will use disunity to divide and conquer. Everyone stays on message during the talks and talks privately afterwards. But this means the leaders have to stay on message and can't suddenly change or add things that haven't been discussed. If something changes suddenly, take time out from the negotiation to discuss and think. Don't get pushed. Talk about it with the group afterwards. Also, if someone is not working out or is ineffective in the group, move them out of that role as gently as possible. Assess how the personalities impact the negotiation to keep them useful and on track. And don't explicitly talk outside the group about the ongoing negotiations. 9. Show respect, but not fear or deference. Really listen to what they say. Also, listen for disagreements among their team. Long-term relationships are being built, so stay respectful and not harsh. If you want more time to think about an offer or gather more information, take the time. Don't let them push you. 10th, certain negotiators recommend a community use advisors and specialists effectively in a negotiation to back up the leaders with the company and the government as needed, or to talk hard when the community should not do so, or to set up the legal foundations of implementation and money management. The community itself can also support those negotiators and stand up for the community values as needed. 11th, a question. Is protest a form of negotiation? Protest, especially nonviolent protest, can be an aspect of negotiation. It's a tactic. It can be a form of leverage. It can be a way, sometimes the only way, of getting your voice heard. It can be useful. It can change the dynamic. It can be powerful. But it can be overdone. And so can walking out of the negotiations in a huff. But these things cannot bring a resolution to the problems. 12. Consult with the community, including community meetings, as needed to see how the people feel. Work to prevent claims of illegitimacy. Take agreements to the community for discussion and consent, and talk to the community when there's stuff to report. But also talk to them when not much is happening, to keep everyone unified and feeling informed. If they don't like the agreement, you may have to return to the negotiating table, but deadlock is preferable to a bad agreement. And of course, make sure all the environmental, financial, compensation benefits, social, cultural, and accountabilities are included. Last points. Never accept an offer until it has been reviewed by respected specialists and your lawyer, and you've had a chance to think about it. You need good legal advice so as not to give away too much or weaken your control over the land later. Get the contract in both languages and make sure they are reconciled. Avoid confidential agreements. Make sure the final contract can be and is made public for everyone to see. Making it private suggests one of two things. First, the company wants to keep it quiet so they can give as little as possible to the next community. Or two, something unsavory is going on. It takes a lot of time, but take the time and hang in there and get what you want and as much as you can. It can take months or years. And have a plan in place for implementation. And remember, vigilant oversight will be required by the community for the life of the project. Good luck.